Hello everyone and welcome back to Destiny Tunes. It's Destiny here. It is a very windy and rainy day today, so I have a feeling that is the perfect aesthetic for the video that we're going to be talking about. So let's go ahead and get into it. So it's possible that 2026 just may be the year of the magical black girl character. I was already ecstatic after discovering Pretty Please I Don't Want to Be a Magical Girl, and then my recommendation page on YouTube decided to grace me with another project, and this time it would be about a black witchy character. Now, before going into this video, I do want to say a couple of things. When I make these analysis type videos, I try my best to be as honest as possible without coming off as rude or disrespectful. I do feel like it's important to speak openly and honestly about the content that we watch though, but at the same time, we have to be respectful to the artists that are putting their hard work out into the world. So the pilot for The Ebony Witch was released a few days ago, and after doing a little look around the Poppin', I really hope I'm saying that right, YouTube page, it looks as if this project has been in the work for about 2 years now. The creator of this YouTube channel says that they would like to be referred to as Dan, so let's all try to respect their wishes. It seems as if Dan originally planned for The Ebony Witch to be a movie, but after realizing how difficult it would be to do that, they decided to break it up into a 6-part series. I think that this part was interesting because when we usually see a pilot here on YouTube, we're never really knowing what will come after that pilot. And what I mean by that is like the number of episodes within the series and just a full layout of what to expect and what the series will entail. It seems as if a lot of time and hard work has gone into this pilot, and honestly, I am the last person to talk about timelines or being on time, but from what I saw on the YouTube channel, it looks as if there were some difficulties with getting this pilot out on time, so I'm hoping that there won't be any crazy delays with the remainder of this series, which is something we have unfortunately dealt with multiple times in terms of pilots here on YouTube. Going into this pilot, I didn't really have any expectations for what the series could potentially be about or what I wanted to see specifically. All I knew was that I was happy to be getting some more representation of black characters by black creators. And I know that might come off as self-centered, and that would be correct, but it's only because we don't really see it as often as I would like to, especially in the indie animation world. But now that I'm done yapping, let's actually dive into what The Ebony Witch is about and what I thought about the pilot both visually and story-wise. So The Ebony Witch follows Ebony, aka Bonnie, a witchlet, which I'm assuming is just like a young witch or something like that, who dreams of being the most powerful witch in the world. When the pilot starts, we are met with the most beautiful, the most colorful stained glass looking image of a dragon and then another image of a witch, and I just have to say that if this was meant to capture the attention of the audience, I was definitely paying attention. We also learn a little bit about the history of this world in which the Ebony Witch takes place. So there was a time where witches existed freely to practice their craft without persecution. But now in the age of the dragon, the existence of witches seems to be seen as a threat that needs to be eliminated. In the description of this pilot video, we are given information that Bonnie hopes to overthrow the current monarch in charge of this new world, which leads me to assume that the ban on witches started when the new queen came into power. I really wish that this information was included somewhere in the short film itself. The truth is, it might have been. It was just really hard to understand what was going on a lot of the times in this pilot, as the audio was either a bit choppy or the music completely drowned out the characters' dialogue. The subtitles did help a bit, but even then I found myself confused and having to rewatch certain parts over and over again just to like fully understand the context of what was going on. This would have to be my biggest critique of the entire pilot, and unfortunately, I feel like it does lower the enjoyment of the viewing experience, but luckily the description did provide me with some information I wasn't able to get in the pilot itself. Okay, moving on. After the title is shown, we are introduced to Ebony as a child, and at this point I already had so many questions like, why is this child all by herself? What is the stuffed animal that she has with her? Where exactly is she? And so on. I could only assume that maybe Bonnie's family had been hunted down if they themselves were also witches, because it does appear that she is being hunted down in the beginning and fortunately is being protected by her stuffed animal friend, which I hope that we get more information about. There is also a cat character that is lurking in the shadows following behind Bonnie, and this cat would eventually end up leading Bonnie to his superior, his romantic interest. Not exactly sure their relationship, but her name is Lady Circle. Up until this point, there are a couple of things that I wrote down in my mental notes. One of those things being the atmosphere being very dark, but at the same time whimsical. Also, up until a certain point, I truly believed that the series wasn't going to have any dialogue, which would have been an interesting thing on its own, because it seemed to me that music was a very big storytelling element of this pilot, and I was definitely ready to flow with that being an option. Something I also found interesting was the fact that I wrote in my mental notes that Bonnie going through this forest felt like watching Disney's Fantasia, and the scene of Bonnie flying on her broomstick for the first time made me feel like I was watching Peter Pan or The Rescuers. And surely enough, I go to the description of this video and I see that Disney was a big inspiration for the series, which is so evident in the pilot. It definitely does a great job of capturing that early Disney magic. I feel like people really undermine just how beautiful the environment, the background, the setting, whatever you want to call it, of early Disney movies were. So it was really nice to see someone taking that older style and implementing it into something that's new and fresh. Also, when I was going through the description of this pilot, I saw the names of the timestamps throughout the video and saw that there was one actually titled Fantasia. And I'm not exactly sure if this is the name of the forest where Lady Circle lives, but it was interesting to me that this was the very moment where I felt like this pilot was imitating those same whimsical feelings I got when watching Fantasia for the first time. So Dan, if you somehow see this and that was your intention, just know that like lovers of early Disney definitely got what you were putting down. I'm going to be making educated guesses from this point on since I'm not exactly sure what's happening, but I think that once Bonnie and Lady Circle are introduced, she takes Bonnie in as like an apprentice maybe, because we see Lady Circle equipping Bonnie with both a witch's hat along with a magical broom. Both of them seem to be happy in each other's presence, which makes for a very wholesome scene, and I'm really hoping that these two are still working together in some shape or form. Then there's a time skip and we get to see Bonnie all grown up and a full-blown witch now. It's also really nice to see how diverse this world is and the level of detail for the character designs of even background characters. It's really impressive. You can obviously tell that a lot of intention went into this pilot, and that's always going to be admirable to me. We see Bonnie get into some trouble with a character named Luca, who I found out from one of Dan's other videos is the soon-to-be king or prince of this kingdom. I don't remember which one, but it's one of those, which is pretty cool. It was also pretty cool seeing Bonnie using the same golden web-like substance that we saw Lady Circle using previously, which again makes me think that she may be under Lady Circle's wing now. The pilot ends on a pretty good note with Bonnie being able to escape from being captured. We see Cat showing us some of his really cool swordsmanship skills, and we even find out that Luca is in possession of a dragon, which is like, whoa, is this going to be like a enemies to lovers situation or what. I don't know. I'm just throwing theories out there. I don't know. I also found it really cool that this pilot provided a sneak peek into the next episode, which is going to introduce 3 characters that seem really interesting in my opinion. We get an early look at the queen of this kingdom, which I feel like is going to be like the main antagonist. I mean, obviously. There is also a character named, I hope I'm saying this right, Isido? I don't know, Isido? Something like that. And she works underneath the queen, and it's honestly really, really cool to find out that she is blind. Anytime that we get more representation for underrepresented groups like people with disabilities, it's a win. She also has a seen eye mouse named Nibblewick. I saw from one of Dan's other videos that Nibblewick is actually named, or its name is inspired by John Wick, so that's really cute. Now that we touched on what this pilot is about, I want to go into more depth about Ebony, since it feels like that's what this pilot was mostly trying to do, rather than go into more depth about the story and the world in general. So from what we've seen so far, Ebony seems like a very likable character. I would say that she feels curious, witty, and courageous. These are all things that make up a really interesting character. She also seems to have grown from that quiet and skittish kid that we see in the beginning, and she seems more self-assured and kind of seems like a little troublemaker. So it's gonna be interesting to see the sort of antics that she gets into. I'm excited to see the direction that this character will go in, or if there will be any character development on her part. I want to know if there are any, dark past, any demons that this character might have and have to work through. Like, there isn't enough information about the other characters for me to give a proper analysis on what I think about them. One thing I will say though is that everyone has a very interesting character design, and I am someone who cares a lot about the characters of a series. I like there to be good character designs, but it's okay if they're not the best. I also love for side characters to have depth, to have meat, to have substance. So I'm hoping that we will find out more about these characters, although it does seem like we will be venturing into some very commonly used character tropes. It's always nice though to see the ways that people will make their characters stand out from what we've seen in the past. Now, unfortunately, we do have to talk about the things that I wasn't the biggest fan of in terms of this pilot, and the number one thing has to be the issues with the audio. Now, as I mentioned before, I couldn't really understand what was going on exactly at certain parts, and the captions weren't always the most reliable source of information either. The music, although very beautiful, was way too loud and drowned out the voices of the characters. Now, I want to be very clear that this isn't me saying that this pilot was bad or anything like that, because I feel like there were definitely more positive components than there were negative, but the negatives do have the power to deter someone away from enjoying this series. So I feel like it's important to put criticism out there so that the next video, the next episode can be better, so that more people stick around and continue to watch every time a new video comes out. Now, I will say that visually this pilot was very pleasing to my eyes. The scene of Lady Circle as a skeleton with the water pouring out from her eyes was absolutely beautiful. Also, the scene of Bonnie on her broomstick was breathtaking. Like I mentioned before, this pilot really did capture the magic of early Disney, and I hope that we continue to see that throughout this entire series. So I saw that in a previous video, Dan mentioned that this project was only being worked on by a couple of friends, so I feel that that's important to remember and to take into consideration when being too critical about this pilot if you see anything that you don't like. We have to remember that these are real people that are putting their hard work out into the world, And even if we don't like something about it, we can talk about those things in a constructive way that isn't just being flat out hateful. Personally, I would recommend checking this pilot out. I feel like this series will definitely be worth the watch if this is something that you're into. And as a lover of animation, I always find it important to support indie animation. It's just important to remember that these are the people who will become the future of animation. So just don't be a jerk, basically. Don't be a jerk. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But with all that being said, I'm excited to see what episode 2 will be about. Based on the description of this video, it seems as if Bonnie is going to be kidnapping someone's girlfriend. So that sounds interesting. But that is all of my thoughts, opinions, criticisms, and things like that about the Ebony Witch. Please go check this one out. It will be linked in my description below. Go and support Dan and everyone else who worked on this project. I will be linking their channel in my description as well. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Stay tuned. New video will be out on Saturday. Also, I'm going to be making a vlog channel, so if you want to go ahead and check out what I do in my day-to-day life, go check that out. It will be in the description as well. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a lovely day. Bye!